Hey everybody, it is Amy from AJ Life, and today I wanted to talk about cruise weddings. Now, I just went on a cruise wedding. When I was originally looking up what, what was a cruise wedding like, I really didn't get too many resources out there just because it's not a very common thing. So I thought I'd make a video on the pros and cons of a cruise wedding. So let's get into it. Okay, so we'll start with the cons first, just so that we end on a positive note, because I'll just say in general, overall, I will tell you I had a fantastic time. And I'll get into that. But I just want to just start with cons and then we'll go into pros. So con number one, there's not too many variations in choices for what you can do on a cruise. It's limited to what they have and what they have available for you. So if you are very, very like specific about the kind of wedding you were looking for, like you dreamed of having like a starry moon or like night sky, like set up with twinkly lights, if you have like an idea in mind, might not be the best idea for you to do a cruise, because again, you can't really make too many what's the word, alterations. You can't make too many alterations for what they have there available for you. Limited venue choices. So the venues on the cruise that I was allowed to choose from, a lot of them were restaurants and stuff like that. So restaurants and bar areas, places that they'll like move chairs and tables out of the way to kind of create that vibe for you for the wedding. So I picked like the biggest, best room in the ship. For mine, they allowed me to do that. So that was very nice, and it turned out beautiful. But I'm not, again, this is cons. Ugh, I have so many pros, but we'll start with cons. So not a very big selection of places that you can get married on the cruise. Another con that I had was my reception was pretty short. You can make it longer. You just have to pay for, more food, which was weird. I got married on the Norwegian cruise line on the Encore. So I can only speak for what, they did and what their policies were. There might be some slight variations in different cruise lines, but for mine, it had to be in the morning / afternoon. They had no evening times because a lot of the venues, those were restaurants. So, by that time they have to feed 3,000 other people. So they can't let you do that. So it was short. It was from 12:30 to 2, but then no, it was 12:30 to 2:30. I think 12:30 to 2:30 or 12:33. I can't remember, which is strange. But then after that, we left the venue. They got all set up for dinner. And then I think it was 6 o'clock or 5:30. 6 o'clock, I think we went back to that area to have our dinner. So again, yeah, not too many. It was pretty short. So if you wanted something longer, you have to start your ceremony earlier in the day and then pay for a longer time. So that's that. Another con is you are kind of hoping that you get to get married that day, because it's a little bit unpredictable on a cruise, like where they're going. I know our day changed. Our day at sea changed like 3 times while we were, leading up to the cruise. Like we scheduled it a year beforehand. And then during that time, we kept looking at the itinerary, seeing if anything changed, and it changed 3 times. So if, again, you are very, very like, it needs to be on this particular day, not for you. If you're, again, go with the flow, I was just like, as long as it's on a day at sea, that's the day I'm going to get married. So day at sea means, we are completely at sea. There are no destinations that we were going to that day. We're not getting off the boat at all. So that was what I decided I want to do, because it turned out that one of the excursions that we had actually got canceled because we couldn't dock at the one port. So imagine having a wedding like planned for the beach on that specific day. It's like, too bad, so sad. Now the cruise is over and you didn't get to have your wedding on the beach where you wanted to get married, pretty much. So again, if you don't like that, and it was a little nerve-wracking for me too, if you don't want that worry, like that, it's gonna be kind of different than the day you expected it to be, again, not for you. Another con is it's hard to communicate with all your guests on the ship. They do have like Wi-Fi that you can buy, but I had 40 guests and I wish I planned it out better. I just couldn't get in touch with everybody. I had to be like, tell this to everybody that you see, blah, 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 all of that. I had to do that. Something that I wish I did beforehand, something if I could go back and do it a little bit differently, I would get everybody's room numbers, because I didn't collect everybody's room numbers. And then because they have a phone in their room that you call the room number, and you can call them that way if they're in the room. But I wish I got that. And then I wish I planned out more events for the week with everybody, because it was kind of like, well, I didn't really know. I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, we'll play it by ear. And that's what we did. And we still had a great time, but it was a little hard, like finding everybody on the ship, because the ship is huge. So that was another con, is it was hard to communicate with all my guests. Another con, I think this is the biggest con of all of them, not everyone can go. So it's a cruise, it's a vacation. I didn't pay for my guests' vacation. They came, and that was so amazing of them to be there on the ship with me. But some people, they just can't make it. Some people are too seasick, or like some people just can't go because of the cost and everything. So really, it was a very small amount of people in my mind. If we were to have like a regular wedding, it would have been at least 100 people that were going. But for my wedding, because it was on a cruise, I only had 40 people go, which was amazing. Don't get me wrong. It was a very beautiful, intimate wedding, and I loved that. But if you want like every single person and your third cousin there, don't expect it, because not everyone can go. That's the end of the cons. Let's get into the pros. One of my biggest pros for this was it was so easy to plan. You get in contact with the cruise line, you say, hey, I want to have a wedding. They will give you a website link. You look at the link, you see what kind of ceremony you want. Do you want to be married by the captain? Do you want to be a symbolic, ceremony? All of that. There's different options for everything. It's like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this cake, I want this food, I want the DJ to play for this long, and I want, these flowers. You don't have to worry about a caterer, a DJ, a photographer, which they have on board for you. Anything. You don't have to worry about it all. It's all on the ship for you. I had the easiest planning time. The hardest thing that I had to do was come up with a song list, and and getting and sending out invites. That was the hardest thing I had to do. It was so easy to plan. So if you don't feel like going through the stress of planning a wedding, a cruise wedding is really, really easy to plan. Super easy. You have a planner, and then on board, the first day you get on board, they meet with you to go over how you want your ceremony to be and your reception to be, and just any last minute loose ends to tie up. They will talk to you the very first day you are on that ship. So very, very, very easy. I couldn't believe it. It was great. Even though I stressed, because I stress, you're going to stress because it's a wedding, but that portion of it, it was so easy to plan. So very good con. So very good pro. Another amazing thing was, it was just beautiful. Everything was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful ship. I didn't have to worry about anything, as far as how aesthetically pleasing it was going to be. It was all gorgeous. Oh my goodness. And then the place that we got married, you could see out the windows, and it was like the ocean. It was absolutely gorgeous. I was so impressed with how they set everything up. you know, and it was just like, I didn't have to set anything up. They set it all up. It was great, you know, again, back to like easy planning. It's like, I don't have to be down there counting the amount of tables and like placing, you know, the cards everywhere. Like, where are you going to sit? Where are you going to sit? You know, stuff like that. It was all like taken care of, like setting up flowers. There was nothing that I had to worry about. They did it all. We had a free dinner, with our guests. You know, everyone pays to be on the ship, but you know, with that being said, I had hors d'oeuvres for my reception, and then we left after, you know, it was time for them to set up for dinner for the whole ship. We left that venue and then came back, and they set us all up in the same area, and then we served the cake then. So that was another pro, was just knowing that I didn't have to worry about paying for every single person's dinner and every single like choice that they made. That was also very, very nice. Another pro is like the food, like the catering. It's going to be great. You don't have to worry about like saving money with doing like a taco, you know, setup or anything like that. You know, if you are planning on trying to save money, which I'll get into the cost of it. But you don't have to worry about that. They have amazing food. So that was also another great, great pro to it. Another pro is the accommodations were amazing. I had, you know, a spa / hair salon that I could go to. Again, another thing I didn't have to worry about was finding someone to do my hair. It's like, oh, we want to schedule your time for 8? Sure. And it's like, okay, you're good. You know, it was all ready. They did a great time, or they did an amazing job with my hair and makeup. I'm surprised how long it took, but I guess that takes a while. I'm just not used to getting pampered like that, so I didn't know how long it was going to take. But I had an amazing hairdresser / makeup artist put everything on for the day, and that was great. And all the staff were just so accommodating. You know, I had like all these people like making sure it was okay, that the dress was pressed or like unwrinkled, I should say, with travel. That's another big thing, is traveling with your dress. Kind of like a destination wedding type deal here is, on the ship, you can just, hey, can you press this for me? And they're like, sure. So also another nice thing about that, press the suit, with it being all folded up in your luggage if you did that. Me, I just carried it on the plane, and, you know, in like a bag that no one could see through, and I just hung it up where you would put your suits if you were in business class. They just let me hang it up there. So if you're worried about traveling with your dress, look into what the airline that you're flying with, what their policies are for that. Mine was pretty easy breezy. I didn't really need to like explain myself to anybody. They kind of got the gist that I was carrying a dress on board. So that wasn't a big deal. So the photographers on board were also amazing. I got 2 photographers that, you know, documented us getting ready all the way up until the very end of our reception, all of our dancing and stuff. And the turnaround for it was great. Unlike, you know, a photographer that, you know, might be, I don't know, that you hire, a lot of times the turnaround for getting those pictures is like, you know, a couple weeks, which is normal and understandable. You know, that's completely understandable that it takes, you know, a few weeks up to a month to get all your photos back. But for us, it was like 3 days. So by Friday, we got married on Tuesday. By Friday, we had the pictures, and they had a slideshow of it with music and everything. And they're like, here you go. And we're like, oh. So we got to see all of our photos, and we were like crying. We were like, oh my gosh. It was like we were reminiscing, but it was like a few days ago. So that was really cool that, you know, we got our, all of our photos right away, a USB and everything, a little slideshow thing that we could look at. So that was pretty cool. And last but not least is the cost. The cost was relatively low. Now, it's not going to be a number that you're going to, how should I say? It's not going to be an unrealistic number. It's going to be a significant amount. It was for us around $13,000 altogether with honeymoon. and wedding. And that's not too bad. So I wrote down here, like the cost of everything. So I'll just go through that with you, to give you an idea of what we paid. Now you can pay more or less than what we did. A lot of times it always depends on the count of the guests, how many guests you have to feed. So that always plays a big factor into your cost. So just keep that in mind. So 13,000, we'll break it down. So for the suit, we went pretty, not cheap. Cheap's not the word. We went pretty economic, I guess is the word, for our suits and wedding dresses for this. So the suit and shoes, the wedding dress, the veil, all that, it was around $1,000 for both of us, which isn't bad at all. Some people spend $13,000 on a dress. So that we did. We really didn't go over the top with our attire, just because we wanted to spend money elsewhere. The honeymoon, so our room would cost us $4,000. We did get upgraded as a gift from Jimmy's parents, so that was amazing. So we did get an upgrade, but normally if you were just doing like a regular balcony room for us together, it was around $4,000. So we have that. The ceremony was around $2,000 to do, to, you know, kind of rent out that space for that amount of time and for them to set everything up for you and like take everything down for you. Altogether, that was $2,000. The reception was $4,000, which is going to be, you know, what it is, you know. That was for all the food and the drinks and champagne and the cake and all of that. And then the photographers were $2,800. So altogether around that price, which isn't bad at all. So that $4,000 for our room, that's like our honeymoon. That's like $4,000 for a honeymoon, you know? So if you were to take that out of the equation, that's like $9,000 for a wedding. That's not bad. When the average wedding is around 30,000, I think I saw online. The average wedding in the United States is around 30,000. 9,000 for a wedding isn't too bad. And with the honeymoon altogether. Oh, another big pro that I just thought of right now is you get to spend, now this may be a pro or a con for some people, you get to spend the entire week celebrating with your guests. It's not like it just ends at the very end of the night. So just think about it that way too. When you're doing the cost of something, it's like for the wedding, just think it's like one day. But for us, it was like an entire week of celebrating with our friends and family on the boat. So just think of it in that perspective, that actually goes a very long way as far as cost goes, because a lot of people pay how much money for 8 to 6 hours, whereas we paid all that and we got a whole entire week to celebrate. So think of it that way. Oh, and then one last thing I wanted to say is just a little story. And I highly recommend you do it if you are on a ship and you're getting married. We played the Not So Newlywed game. It's a game that Norwegian Cruise Line plays. Just so happened to be the day at sea, in the evening of the day of the wedding. So we ate and then we went to the one area where a lot of these I guess activities are being held, and that's where they had the Not So Newlywed game, and they asked, you know, who's the most newlywed people here, and we were like, we got married 6 hours ago, you know. We were able to get on, and they did some people who were married for about, you know, 5 to 10 years, and the longest married couple who wanted to volunteer. So we got to go on that game, and then we actually won, and it was such an amazing memory because we were always hoping we'd be able to get onto that game if we were to get married on a cruise. So that was another very, very fun thing that we got to do, and a very special memory, that we won that 6 hours after getting married. We had an amazing time. So anybody who wants to save money, spend an entire week with their family, and then just go with the flow, you know, it's an amazing, amazing opportunity and unique thing to do. Like, all of my guests loved it, being able to be there. It was like a little family reunion, and then we also got to, you know, celebrate together. So highly recommend. Even though the cons are there, the pros are amazing. So I hope that helped. If you have any other questions, you could always ask me in the comments below. I will check periodically to see if any of you guys have any questions for me. So I hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you again soon.